Okay, good afternoon, good evening, I should say. We'll give it another minute to see if more attendees are sign in, and looks like that number is increasing. So we'll give it one more minute. We'll get started. All right, so we'll get started. It seems like a lot of folks are already signed in. So first off, I want to welcome you to a Financial Partners series of webinars. Today's topic is Estate Planning 101, kind of talk about trust services and all that entails. I know this is a topic that's very popular to members, so definitely wanted to make sure that we bring you some information, some resources in that regard. Somebody asked how long this is going to take. It'll probably take about 45 minutes, but also we're going to leave some time for some questions. So we want to make sure that everybody gets as much information as possible. The webinar will be facilitated by our third party that we work with, AmeriEstate, and Michelle Reese Johnson is the one that's going to be facilitating with that. So I will hand it over to her and we can get started. So Michelle, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Mario. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all feeling a little more relaxed. Maybe a little before dinner. Maybe you've had some dinner. I know that I'm here at the office with Caroline. We're here to help educate you on my favorite subject. And I hope that I'm going to help you understand more about this living trust thing that seems to be really popular these days, right? And it's a very, very hot topic. And we're just going to go over the basics of estate planning and why it's crucial and so important, especially for the members of Financial Partners, because you guys are mostly all in California, right? And Southern California. And California is a huge state that loves to deal with probate because so many people don't have their estates in order and they become incapacitated or they pass away. So this is a very, very important subject. And I'm just here to help educate you and help you understand just some more ins and outs, because it is a subject that most people don't know. They don't talk about it and they just want some education. So that's what I'm here to do today. I have the mouse. Thank you. I need the mouse. So my name is Michelle Reese Johnson. I'm Vice President of AmeriEstate Legal Plan. I've been here for 26 years. We've been here for 26 years. We are located in Costa Mesa, California, but we service the entire state of California and other states. For instance, we do Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, Virginia, and Maryland as well. But we service the entire state of California. So no matter where you live, if you're in one of our states, we can help you get your estate plan started. The first slide I have going is, do you have any estate planning legal documents in place? Raise your hand if you have any of these things. Like, what is the thing they do? Oh, there's a little hand in there. How many people have a power of attorney for finance or healthcare, a will, or a living trust that's joining us here today? Let's see what that number may be. If you click that little hand with the red dot, we might be able to see how many people have that. Can you tell? Caroline's gonna find out. Anyway, so I've got my helper here. We're helping with the mouse. So we have maybe 5 people that have raised their hands. I would say the majority of people do not have anything in place. And the reason why is they don't really think about it or have been educated about it or don't have any experience of why these documents are important. So I wanted to talk to you. The first thing about is, who needs a living trust? Well, these are the main people or reasons why you should have a living trust. Number one, if you are a homeowner, you definitely need a living trust. I'm going to explain that a little more in detail. If you have a business, if you are parents of minor or special needs children, if you are single and you have children, if you possess assets that trigger probate, we're going to talk about that. You have investment properties. You want to plan for incapacity. A living trust is really important because living trust combines not just a living trust, like who's going to get your assets, but things like your powers of attorney for health and finance. And it also has a pour-over will. And we also do things that actually put your assets inside of this living trust. So if you have any of these types of assets, a living trust is really important for you to have. Now, there are some common ways that most of us do an estate plan. The first way is always the do nothing way, right? We just don't do anything. We know we probably need to do something, but we still haven't done it yet. The second way is just a will. A lot of people have just a will. Maybe they've created it a long time ago. People put family members on title to their assets. That's their way of putting band-aids on. Well, if I die, then I want to make sure my daughter gets the house or she gets access to my bank account. That's kind of the band-aid approach of estate planning. And the best approach, which we're going to go into, is the living trust approach. Let's talk about the do nothing plan. Well, it's not, you don't have to set up anything. It's not against the law to not have an estate plan. You can choose to do it or not. A lot of people don't do it because they don't think they need to, and they just say, my kids will take everything if I pass away. They'll take care of me if I need to go into the nursing home. It's just the way it is, right? It's like the old handshake back in the day. It's not like that anymore. You have to have things in writing and signed for anybody to take care of your assets or you should you become incapacitated. So the do nothing plan is not the best plan, as we all know. The next plan most people do, and we see this, is they do a will, a last will and testament, and they think, okay, I've done my last will and testament. I'm great. I'm good to go, right? If I pass away, I got my will. I've taken care of business. I can go on with my life and continue what else I'm doing. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to go into details of why a will is not the best plan for most people, especially people that have assets, and especially you, clients of financial planners, financial partners who have, you have financial partners as your credit union. You might have loans and cars and investments, and you might have, you've refinanced your house with financial partners. So a will isn't going to cut it for you. We're going to talk about why. The other thing we see a lot of is people adding their children to title to their assets. Okay, well, if you pass away and you have your child on title to your house or your financial accounts, you're right, that property is not going to go through probate. But we're going to talk about the reasons why that is probably one of the worst things you can do, is add others other than your spouse to title to your assets. Okay, a living trust is the best plan. Okay, and I'm going to tell you about that why. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is, if you've ever heard the word probate, you probably don't know much about it, but it's a bad thing, right? Probate is always, that's not a good word, okay? It's like the curse word in estate planning, probate. We hate that call when somebody says, I found out when my dad died, he didn't have his house in a living trust. What do I do? And we say, well, that's a ticket to probate. let me get you an attorney who can help you through that mess. And so a living trust will avoid that altogether. We're going to talk more in detail. You create a living trust while you're alive, and you put your assets inside this living trust, meaning it's kind of like a suitcase. You're going to create it, and then you're going to pack it. And I'm going to talk to you about how that works, how to pack your living trust. A living trust, by the way, this is the living trust portfolio that every client gets. And inside this portfolio is everything you need: your trust, your wills, your powers of attorney for healthcare and financial planning. Financial assets. And what those two documents do, the financial power of attorney for health and assets, make sure that if you become incapacitated, you do not have to go through a conservatorship court. So the courts will name somebody to take care of you and manage your affairs, because you have that document within your living trust portfolio that AmeriEstate prepares. I want to talk about probate in more detail. What is probate? Well, in my eyes, I like to explain it as a three-ring circus. And I'm going to tell you why, because I think about it this way. How does probate start? Well, probate starts when somebody passes away and they do not have their assets in a revocable living trust. The first thing that happens is there has to be an ad in the paper. Do you ever look at the back of your newspaper and see who has passed away? And you will see ads that will say, hey, the estate of so-and-so, case number so-and-so, if you're a creditor or debtor, we're going to go to this court proceeding, show up at court. So it's the ticket for you to show up to court, to check out to see what Joe and Betty, your neighbor, had in their estate, right? So it's public knowledge. Probate is public. Estate living trusts are private. So you're going to get your ticket. You're going to go to court, meaning the circus, and you're going to sit there and you're going to find out what's inside that cake, inside that neighbor's estate, right? So what's going to happen there is a lot of people come out of the woodwork. They claim to be people they are not. They claim that somebody promised them the house, the car, whatever. There's so many scammers that are out there looking for people to show up and listen to the probate proceedings. So the first thing you want to make sure is your estate is private. It's not going to get advertised in the paper. People aren't going to show up out of the woodwork. It's a private document that you have put in place that you are only going to share with your successor trustee and the beneficiaries that you have chosen. Another thing is this process takes 1 to 2 years. The number one reason why it takes 1 to 2 years to get your estate through this process is because the courts are really backed up. Even after COVID, they're still trying to catch up. And there's a lot of people retiring or things are happening in the courthouse. And so it takes a lot of time just to get an attorney to get a court date. And then from there, there's all kinds of paperwork and people come in out of the woodwork and things need to be being contested. So everything gets locked down in this process. So let's say that you pass away without an estate plan. The house is just in your name, and your daughter is maybe the only beneficiary. Well, guess what? Your daughter cannot take title to that house. She has to wait a couple of years to get that house into her name. And hopefully it will go to her, because if you pass away without any kind of plan, without a will, the state has a will idea for you, meaning they have their own estate probate process and the way that assets should be distributed. Because people, if you don't put at least a will in place, the courts have to decide, well, who are going to be her beneficiaries? She never let us know. So we're going to go from, okay, if she's got mother, father alive, if she has no children, it would go to the children or maybe the husband, maybe not. If they're not around, it goes to mother, father. So there's a whole thing that is set up in the court system as to how your estate will go. And it's really expensive because, number one, you got to hire an attorney. Your kids have to hire an attorney to take your house and your bank accounts through this probate process. They cannot get access to your money. They cannot sell the house. They probably can't even move into the house because they're not in charge. So they are basically waiting around, and oftentimes it's very distressing. So you want to make sure that your heirs get immediate access to your bank accounts and your properties and whatever other types of assets you have. And so anyways, you cannot get access to any of these assets while your parents' assets are in the probate court. Okay, so just know that these costs, probate costs, are based on the gross amount of assets that are going through this probate process. The gross amount is, let's say you got $1 million house, and let's say you have an $800,000 mortgage on it. Well, they're going to base the cost of the probate on that $1 million house, not the equity, but the $1 million. And then everything else, the bank accounts and all that, are locked down as well. And if you go to financial partners and your kids show up with mom died, here's a death certificate, just go ahead and give the money over, right? They'll be sorry, your mom had too much. In California, if you have $184,000 in assets that are not in a living trust or have beneficiaries on them and you die, that'll be stuck. Financial partners cannot give that money to anybody. It's locked down. It has to go through a probate. So you want to make sure that you've got this living trust protection around your financial accounts and also around your properties and things. Other reasons to avoid probate is minor children. If you have it's basically if you pass away without putting guardians in place for your minor children, which is part of the estate plan, and that's part of your will within the estate plan, the courts are going to have to decide who your children go to. So super important, if you don't have a lot of assets, but you have minor children, an estate plan is really important for that as well, okay? And also you want to make sure that you don't put minor children on as beneficiaries to accounts. Anybody under 18 years old, if you have them on your life insurance policies, if you have them as beneficiaries on your bank accounts, and I have seen somebody actually deed their house, put their minor child onto their real estate. You can put anybody you want on your house, but when she went to go refinance her property, she couldn't because there was this minor child on title, and they're like, she's got to sign, but she can't. She's a minor. So you just have to be really careful to make sure that you do not put minors on as beneficiaries. And also the reason is if they turn 18 and all of a sudden they're a beneficiary on your assets, guess what? They get the whole boat. At 18, do you want your minor child to get $1 million bank account or even a $200,000 bank account or less at 18? I don't think any of us really want that. We all know what our kids are going to do with all that money, right? The better plan is to have an estate plan, a revocable living trust, where you put the trust as the beneficiary of that life insurance or the beneficiary of that IRA or that retirement account behind a spouse, right? If you're married, you would put your spouse and then put the trust, because the trust will hold that and distribute it to that minor child when you decide in your trust. Like a lot of people put, I don't want my minor kids to get anything till they're 25. So what'll happen if you have the right plan in your estate, which we help you craft, the successor trustee is going to make sure that that minor child is provided for health, education, welfare, and well-being. But the minor child can't go, I'm 18 now, give it all to me. Okay, so that's why a trust is really important, because even though our babies are turning 18, we still don't want them to get a house at 18, and we don't want them to get $500,000 at 18, right? And another thing I want you to know is by putting kids on title to your assets, like we talked about, you're opening up your assets to creditors. Okay, that's a really, really important thing to know. People start putting kids on title to bank accounts. The kids get in a lawsuit or they get divorced. These are older kids. They're looking for account assets that you're on title to. So know that. Okay, the probate calculator. Here's just a little idea of how much it's going to cost if you have a $400,000 house or $400,000 in bank account. This is how much it's going to cost. It's usually like 6 to 8% of your gross estate. It's going to cost $32,000 just to get that through probate, plus the timing, a couple of years to make that happen. So let's compare. Probate, let's talk about probate. It's expensive, time-consuming, traumatic, and public. We talked about this. It's, let's say you pass away, your kids are already grieving. And then if they have to go through this process, it's probably the worst thing that can happen to them. So let's talk about doing nothing or doing an estate plan called a revocable living trust. You're going to avoid probate. There are no probate fees at all. There are no attorney costs. You can settle an estate very quickly as long as you have a death certificate and you are the person in charge, that successor trustee. You can show up to the bank with a death certificate and they'll go and a copy of the trust saying I'm in charge, and they'll go, here you go. Okay, you're in charge now. It's that simple. You're going to prevent conservatorship because, like I said, we're in our portfolio at AmeriEstate, you get your powers of attorney for health and finance. That will prevent you from going through a conservatorship court. People become incapacitated all the time and they don't have their documents, and all of a sudden the financial advisors can't talk to anybody on that person's behalf. They can't pay their bills because nobody has access to their bank accounts. With the powers of attorney in place for health and finance, others can talk to you that you've chosen to talk to your doctors. It has all the HIPAA language in there, and also to your financial advisors. Roll you up to be as the power of attorney to sign on their behalf, do their taxes, talk to others on behalf. So a living trust portfolio is just not about protecting things from going assets, but it's protecting you as a person, a living, breathing person, in case something happens to you. I have great stories to share that are real stories, but I'm not going to do that on this video. But I think real world stories are what really brings it home to people about, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, you can visualize. And maybe you've had family members that have gone through probate or incapacity and you've been stuck yourself. Like, oh my gosh, I understand why it's important to get these documents done and why to get them done when you are capable. Because once you get in that hospital and all of a sudden you don't have your facilities about you, we can't do anything. We're stuck. Everyone's stuck. Everyone's just like, what do we do now? And we're like, well, we got to go to a conservatorship court, hire an attorney. That's a $5,000 minimum fee. And then it's tacked on from there. So you want to stay out of that altogether. So let's talk about what an asset is. Real estate, insurance policies, boats, cars, motorhomes, financial accounts, businesses, investment properties. We're all here on this earth accumulating all these things, right? That's what we're working for every day. We want to invest in some real estate. We want to maybe buy some gold. We want to get some crypto. We want to make sure to have some fun and get some toys. But we have to protect these things that we've worked so hard for in case something happens. So it's like it's an estate protection plan, kind of like getting insurance. I don't like that word anymore. The insurance word isn't a great word. All the fires going on these days. But I'm just saying that you need to also make sure that you've got that bubble around the stuff that you have worked so hard for your whole life that it just doesn't go poof. If you become incapacitated or you pass away, it's going to go so smoothly to your family. And if you have minor kids or special needs kids, so important for those minors and special needs children, especially, right? Set up a living trust that you have somebody overseeing that special needs person's finances, because they cannot get access to money or else all their benefits will be canceled that they're getting from the state. So let's talk about, this is one of my favorite slides. It says estate plans are for the living, not just the dead. So while you're here on this earth, make sure you have an estate plan. We're walking and talking and things are happening while we're alive. Get it done while you're alive. And if you become incapacitated, your portfolio is going to step in and take over for you. With AmeriEstate, just so you know, everything that you see on this screen is included. We're going to make sure you have your financial and powers of attorney for health and financial. You get a pour over will with a trust. So the good news is a lot of people think, well, what about the will? Well, when you have a trust, you also get a will. Okay. It's called a POUR will, pour over, because some people forget to put assets in their trust, and the will catch that and pour it into the trust and be distributed according to your plan. Now, if it's real estate and you have a trust and you forget to put that in the trust, you buy a house down the road and you don't title it, that will go to probate, but the will catch it and pour it into the trust and still distribute it according to your wishes. Other things are, we record your property deeds with the county, because that's super important. We don't leave anything to you to do by yourself because most people won't do it. We also help you with the funding of your financial accounts. We make sure that you understand how to put that money that you have with financial partners into your living trust. We work with financial partners as well to make sure that they have the documents they need once you've got your trust set up with us to fund or put that bank account into your trust. Our notaries are included. So if you live somewhere in California, it doesn't matter where you live, we will have our notaries come and deliver your documents. There's a lot of notary work in here. This is about a $300, $400 signing that a notary would charge you if it wasn't packaged in our trust the way we have it done. Our fees include all of the signing. And also, we are what's called AmeriEstate Legal Plan. That's how we are structured. And so when you do work with us, you are part of our legal plan, which is all included. And what that includes for you is updates to your trust, and also discounts on other services you need. If you need attorneys for anything else that comes up in your life, I don't know, people have properties in other states and they need an attorney. We'll get you out a free referral to talk to an attorney. If you need amendments to your trust, simple changes, that's included. You need additional services, like if you want to set up an LLC with us and some other things that we do here, you'll get a 25% discount off that. Well, no, excuse me, let me back up. If you see the attorney we refer you to, you'll get a 25% discount off their hourly fee. That's a really good deal. Attorneys are very expensive. So if you need an attorney referral, call us, because that's part of the legal plan. Okay, so estate plans are for the living, not just the dead. I thought we had that slide before, but maybe it was duplicated. But anyways, how it works is you own and control it. It's kind of like you are the owner of your corporation, but you are the owner or the trustor of your trust. You own it, and you are the manager, or called the trustee. Owner, trustor, manager, trustee. You own and control it. It's like setting up a company. It's super simple. You don't have to go around and change your checks. You can take a certain documents in the trust to your bank, and they will retitle those at the bank in the name of your trust. So those are protected. We'll help you with the deed transfer. So how that works is if you and your husband are entitled to your property, husband and wife is joint tenant or community property, we're going to prepare what's called a quitclaim deed, quitclaiming it from you, husband and wife, to you as trustees of your living trust dated. That's how you do it. That's called funding or putting your assets inside this book. And we're here to help you with that. And just know that it's super simple to set it up, and it goes with you for life. So you set it up one time, you want to maintain it. We make it easy for you to do that through our membership in the legal plan, which is only $150 a year. We'll go in detail about that, but it's optional. But a lot of our clients like to maintain that because they want the updates and the changes and the reviews and the attorney referrals and some other goodies that go along with that. Okay, so let's talk about price. Does AmeriEstate cost 30% to 40% less than typical attorney fees? What do you think? Caroline says, yes. I would click the true button, but it doesn't click. This is a true statement, okay? This is what a typical attorney charges, especially if you live in Orange County. You even, no matter that, they charge $600-700 an hour right now. And so the way AmeriEstate is set up is we take the busy work away from the attorneys, like getting your information, your fact finder and all that. Okay, we're going to do this over the phone with our advisors in-house. And then once we get it all up on the application, that's going to go to the attorney, who will then call you again on the phone. Okay, so everything's done on the phone. And then once the trust is ready to go, our notaries will come and see you to get everything signed and notarized. That's a really big deal because a lot of people go to these self-help places right now and they never finish it. They don't know what they're doing. So you need to make sure that you are working with a qualified attorney who understands estate planning, specializes in it, and gets the job done by notarizing those documents and getting those assets into the trust. Let's talk about those fees. AmeriEstate Legal Plan, partnering with financial partners. Our trusts are starting at $17.95 for a single and $18.95 for a couple. That's amazing. Amazing for what you get, the attorney involvement, all the notary fees, and all of the questions. Because the thing is, you go to any self-help place, you will have nowhere to go for questions. You will have no support. You won't have the knowledge you need to make sure that your estate is safe. That's what AmeriEstate is here. We have a team of 30 people to answer those phones and connect you with your questions or the attorney that you need to speak to. And it's all included. And, you can decide if you want to do a credit card check, a Zelle. We have some payment options through PayPal. We make it super simple for you to get started and not have to fret anymore about, oh my gosh, I have to get all this stuff together. You don't have to get anything together. We're going to take it with you step by step. We're going to simplify it for you so you can understand why you're doing this and help you with some of your decisions. And then the attorney is going to review and talk to you as well. Okay. We don't do anything without our attorney. So for this kind of pricing with the attorney and the notary, it's amazing. Okay. So just to let you know, if you have a property, we do add on for your properties, which are $250, and then we have recording fees of $60. So just know that it's $17.95, $18.95 for the portfolio with everything in it, right? Married, single. But for the other assets like the deeds, you just need to tack on that extra $250, but it's still super reasonable. And the service is amazing. I can contest to that. Okay, so here's a little bit more about the services that we offer at AmeriEstate. If you have, if you have maybe a loved one that has become incapacitated, let us help you step up in the role for that person. And this person has to have at least their powers of attorney done in order for us to help you with that. If somebody's passed away in your family and you need help with trust administration, let us know. There's certain rules and things that need to happen in California, and we're here to help you with that. You want to set up a corporation or an LLC, we can help you with that. And of course, if you have any kind of questions, like let's say you already have a trust. A lot of people on this might already have a trust. Well, you know what? Let us take a look at that for you for free, okay? Because so many trusts that are done, I've been doing this for 25 years, and when I started in the business, the exemption amounts were so low, and everybody were doing, in the 90s and early 2000s, they were doing these AB style trusts that are so cumbersome and expensive if one spouse passes, and you probably want to talk about getting out of that style and into a fresher style that would be more suitable for your lifestyle and your family now. So just let us know, and we'll be happy to take a look at that for you for free if you have an existing trust, and we'll let you know, hey, your trust looks great, or hey, your trust is kind of old and you should be refreshing your powers of attorney anyways, and you have this style trust, do you still want that? You might still want that, but most people do not, and we'll talk about that at another time if you call us. Okay, so here it is. If you want to get started with your estate plan, there is a QR code if you want to take a picture of that, or if you want to jot down this phone number here, give us a call. We got Vicki who will be answering your calls over here at AmeriEstate, and she will schedule a time with you with a trust advisor here in our office. And they're going to be the ones to help you understand if you need a living trust or not, and the information they need to take down. Like they'll share with you, let me know, who are you thinking about for a successor trustee? Have a couple of people in mind. That's the person to manage things when you passed away. Who are your beneficiaries going to be? What's your plan? Well, let's think about it. Let's talk about it. Let's get some ideas going and flowing. So they're here to help you with that process. And we're going to package it together nicely for the attorney who will then call you. So feel free to call 866-671-4529 or take a picture of that QR code. And, or just, a lot of you got an email from me. I'm here. I see your emails. Thank you all for, a lot of you were saying, I'm so sorry, I can't make it tonight. I'm like, no problem. I'll email you. I'll connect with you. I'll get you set up. So feel free to use the email as well, where you got the invite. And so I think right now we have a couple questions. Maybe I can answer them. What time do we have? Oh, we're at 35 minutes. Okay, not bad.
So here's a good question. What's the difference between an irrevocable and a revocable trust?
Oh, that's a very popular question. Irrevocable means once you set it up, you can't change it. Okay. That's not a good trust for most people. The reason being is, don't you want to be able to change things about your trust? Like, you decide you don't like somebody and you don't want them in your estate plan anymore. Or maybe you decide that the successor trustee you chose is not a good fit anymore. So irrevocable is mostly used for more strategic planning when it comes to maybe some higher end estate planning. People have lots of money and things like that. A revocable living trust, you want to be able to change it throughout your lifetime while things change in your life.
Perfect. We've got another good question here. I'm single. All my family lives in another country. Who will be the executor of my living trust?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a great one.
So we have a plan for you. You can get a professional trustee, okay, that you can appoint now, or a friend that you trust. They have to be a U.S. citizen, okay? So that's very important. But if you don't have anybody in the United States, I recommend a fiduciary, a professional fiduciary. We can give you a list, or a professional trustee.
Perfect. I know we've got some really good questions. Oh, we talked a little bit about this, but how does our living trust compare to something like a Legal Shield or, like the do-it-yourself? I know you touched a little bit on that, but you know, they set a base price, you know, to get you in, but then by the end of the day, you've got all these costs, and then you don't even get an attorney.
Yeah. Well, Legal Shield is a legal plan that was created a lot of years ago. I know about them. They were created in Ada, Oklahoma. And they're good for certain things, but they do a lot of things. Okay, we specialize in estate planning. So what's happening is, if you're going through Legal Shield, they usually offer you a free will, right? That's how they get you in there. Okay, join Legal Shield and you'll get a free will. Well, a free will isn't going to cut it for you anyways if you have any kind of assets. Whoop-de-doo, big deal. What you really need is a living trust and powers of attorney within that living trust, or maybe just powers of attorney. But there's a lot of different legal plans out there. There's employer legal plans and this and that. They all have their different programs. We're structured as a legal plan, and we specialize in estate planning. And so with Legal Shield, you're pretty much going to be using attorneys, and you're still going to pay for a trust with them. That's not free. And you're paying a lot more monthly for a Legal Shield plan than you would with an AmeriEstate Legal Plan, which is $150 a year, optional. So
that's a good question. If you have a beneficiary listed on your accounts, what is the benefit of a living trust?
Okay, good question. Okay, there's different ways to stay out of probate. And one of the ways is putting beneficiaries on your bank accounts. It could be any kind of account. If you pass away, that bank account, that money will go directly to those beneficiaries. Here's the catch. What if you didn't want those beneficiaries to get all the money all at once? A trust is better for that. What if those beneficiaries were minors? They can't get money. You cannot give money to minors if you pass away. It gets stuck in a conservatorship court. What if your children are special needs? Or what if what if the beneficiary dies? I see that all the time. People put a beneficiary and then that beneficiary dies and they never update it. And then you pass away, it goes to probate. So putting beneficiaries on accounts is okay, but it's not the best plan all the time.
That's a great question. Let's see. Oh boy. There's so many. Let's see. If I only fund my living trust with real estate, how will my successor trustee get paid? Do I need to make sure there are liquid assets titled to the trust?
Well, if you're going to sell the real estate, then there will be liquid assets. But yeah, you have to figure out how they're going to get paid. There has to be something in there to make sure they get paid. So if you plan on keeping the property for a beneficiary, then successor trustees do not have to get paid. A lot of them never do get paid because they're a family member. But if you insist on them getting paid, you better have something in there to pay them. Yeah.
Okay. Can you name a special needs trust as a beneficiary in a living trust?
No.
Okay. Should traditional and Roth IRAs be included in a living trust?
No. Those have to stay in your name. Those are called qualified accounts. Qualified accounts are beneficiary designated accounts. And some people have titled those accounts into their trust, and it's a big tax event. So your financial advisor would never let you do that anyway. So name beneficiaries, always put your wife or husband first, right? But if you're single and you have adult children that are capable of getting the money, put their names on it. All three of them fit a third. But if you have minor children, special needs children, or you just want to make sure the kids don't get it all at 18, put the trust as a beneficiary.
Perfect. This is a question a lot of people are asking. Michelle, how long does it take? Like if they were to contact us today to get a living trust set up, maybe you just have, you're just married and have one or two properties, you know, like how long does that take to get that done?
Well, our process is a simple process, but we have a lot of people working on your documents, and we do it in stages. So we are quoting about 6 weeks from start to finish. And why I'm saying that is a lot of times because you might take a couple weeks to figure out who you want your beneficiaries to be, and there's a lot of back and forth, and then there's a couple weeks of some attorney time, and he has to write the specials, and then maybe he can't get a hold of you. So sometimes we can't get right on it because we can't reach you, or you're busy or on vacation. So that's why we like to give it about 6 weeks is a good turnaround time when it's in your hand and signed.
Good. And then we'll just take 2 more questions, and then we're always here for questions, or, you know, you can contact us afterwards. We'll give you another number, but this is a really good question too. Can AmeriEstate update an existing living trust right now?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the scoop. A lot of clients have existing trusts. We welcome them to send us a copy of their trust document. We will take a look at that. But if there are a bunch of changes, like I want to change my beneficiaries and this and that, we're not going to amend an existing attorney's trust. We will do a complete restatement because most of the time that trust is going to be old anyways, and you're going to want to change all the documents in it, powers of attorney for health, asset management, and whatnot. So we're going to recommend a restatement of that trust, which is just $200 more than that base price I quoted you.
Okay, good. And then I live in California and I have property here, but I have property in another state. Can you still do my living trust?
We can.
Perfect.
We've been doing property deeds in other states since the beginning of time. We e-record in-house too. So we can record those properties quickly. Some states we do not do deeds in. One state that comes to mind is Hawaii. We have to refer some things out. We have to refer Hawaii out. They're expensive and they have 2 different recording systems. It's crazy over there. But everything's like that in Hawaii, right?
Right. And there are so many good questions. So I just got a couple more. I know I said 2, but I'm going to say just a couple more. We've got one question, and I can answer this. Can I pay with a credit card? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Any kind of credit card.
Yeah, we've got that. And then these are really 2 great questions. How do I protect my children's inheritance if I die first and my husband gets remarried? That's a good one.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's specific styles of trust for things like that will lock the trust down if you pass away. And so you can choose the style you want with the attorney. He will direct you as to this is what I recommend based on your concerns. And so a lot of times when the first spouse passes, there were the old style trusts, these AB trusts, that still might work. We don't do the AB style anyways. We call it the AC style because it gives you a second step up in basis. It's kind of complicated tax stuff.
Yes.
Anyways, it's so much better. But yeah, we can totally plan. You can totally plan for that. The surviving spouse just can't take the kids out.
Yes.
Your side is locked down.
And let me tell you from experience, get that done.
Yeah.
Because that happened when my parents divorced. And then my dad remarried, and then he passed away. And so everything went to his existing wife. Anyway,
right.
All right, but let's do one more question. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one, but it's a long one. It probably will resonate with a lot of people. I want one of my beneficiaries to get 50%. Let's see, he's getting, because he would be getting his mother who is deceased share. Okay. Can I set up a living trust with the percentages, like different percentages? I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah. As long as it totals 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
you can also give gifts prior. Like, okay, I want to give the primary house to this person.
Yeah.
They would get that house, and then everything else left over is going to be 25, 30, whatever. So yeah, there's ways to gift things out first, and then charities. There's so many ways you can do it. So, yeah.
That's great. So again, you got on the screen right here, call Vicky's on the line right now. So you can give her a call at 866-671-4529, or just take your phone and click the QR code, and that'll take you directly to a calendar where you can schedule an appointment. And don't worry, we are going to go ahead and send this presentation and the recording out to everybody who's listening right now. And we will also include our direct line here. So if you want to call and you've got a specific question, you can either just still call Vicky, schedule an appointment with her. We can definitely get your question answered. Our trust advisors are, they know everything that Michelle's just gone over with you today. They can answer all those questions for you as well.
Yeah, just give us a call. If you have questions, send me an email. We want to be here for you. We're very friendly. And by the way, we are right down the street from Financial Partners Credit Union in Costa Mesa. So if you guys are local and you want to come see us, feel free to stop over. Yeah.
Great.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being with us today. And I hope you learned some new things. And don't be afraid of estate planning. It's not a scary word. Probate is the scary word, and you don't want it.
You don't want it.
So Christmas is coming. Maybe give your family some Christmas gifts. A lot of people buy trusts for their kids.
Yes, trust.
If you got the money, Christmas is coming. But
or the other important thing too is, when your child, it could be your grandchild, your child turns 18. They are legally an adult.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which means if something were to happen to them as a parent, if they're in the hospital doesn't have to release any information to you. So as soon as your child turns 18, they would need to have a power of attorney and a healthcare directive. And we are able to take care of that. Oh, hi, Mike. We are able to take care of that for you as well. My daughter is going to be turning 18 January 8th. And I'll have everything ready for her to go. But that's just really very important that they have that done the minute they turn 18.
Yeah. So we call it our ice package. It's a good ice though. ICE in case of emergency. Get your young adults set up with their power of attorney package for healthcare and finance. And if you're interested, let us know. We'll let you know about it.
Perfect. And then other thing real quick is we've been around since 1998. So we're not going anywhere. So we're going to be here for quite a while. So anyway, thank you everyone for your time, and schedule an appointment, and then
or come see us.
Or come see us.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye everybody.
Bye.